What is up, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the first ever episode of Daze's Lost Legacy. Now, this is going to be my first attempt at doing my own podcast and a video game podcast to that. So I'm going to work on it being a polished podcast with a strict format to it every week. This is the first episode. We're going to see how that goes. Now, it's been a slow week. So this week on the first episode of Daze's Lost Legacy, there isn't much very news to cover as far as big news out there in the gaming world. But I do have a couple stories for you, and we are going to get started for them. So let's get started right down to it in our first segment, which I call the big deals and video game heels. I'm going to work on that. But the first topic that has swept the video game industry that has been going on for the past couple of days, I think it hit over the weekend, was this whole issue going down at Quantic Dream. And that Quantic Dream has been accused of being homophobic. They've been accused of sexual harassment, and they've been being accused of racist. And this all came from journalistic sites. It came from Le Monde, the investigative site, Mediapart, and the gaming site Canard PC have all said that the company hides a toxic corporate culture. Now, I think that this has been going on for a while now. People have been getting called out. Names are getting put on blast, okay? James Franco, Stan Lee, Aziz Ansari. People are getting put on the spot here, you know? I think the real tipping point of this was when Harvey Weinstein got accused. And you take down someone that big, you know, then the can in the cup just started overflowing. I think that when it comes to Quantic Dream, we cannot exactly say whether or not Quantic Dream is guilty of this. Of course, since there's multiple allegations, I don't think this is fabricated out of thin air. I think that Quantic Dream is probably hiding something, and this quick response from both David Cage and Guillaume de Fondermeer. I've completely butchered that name, sorry. But I think they both came back and fired back so quick that, you know, something's happened there. And whether it be with David Cage or not, like himself, something's happened there. They fired back pretty quick and have denied all the allegations. But I do believe in innocent until proven guilty, and I think that this has to be applied here. I'm still going to end up most likely playing Detroit. That is one of my most anticipated games in the foreseeable future, is Detroit, above everything, above God of War, above anything right now. Even above The Last of Us Part 2. I want to play Detroit more than that. I'm probably going to end up still playing it, but I know some of you are not going to want to support Quantic Dream with these allegations, despite that, you know, it hasn't come down to them being proved guilty yet. If that's your prerogative, I say do what you want. I don't have a prerogative in this. You know, if it was like, man, if you could prove that they was out here calling people niggers and stuff like that, yeah, I'm not going to support Detroit, bro. You know, if I hear some crap like that and you know, you got it on tape or anything like that, yeah, I'm not going to support your game, you know, David Cage, if that's what you was doing. But I don't have any proof of this. All I have is a bunch of accusations that could or could not be true. I think the likelihood that they are true is more than the likelihood that they aren't true, considering how many reports said that this was a toxic workplace. It wasn't just one person saying this, and I doubt that a group of the team at Quantic Dream, a group of the IT staff, would sit there and come up with an elaborate plan to take down Quantic Dream. Why would you want to take down the place that you work at, considering the fact that if things blew up too much, your whole studio could get shut down, which is your job. So not only are you opening a can of worms to the investigation of your company, you're opening a can of worms into possibly shutting down your company if Sony deems that there's been too much of that crap going on. And then that's your job. I'm not saying you shouldn't open your mouth. I'm saying I don't think a group would get together and say, let's falsely report something, because you know the stakes that are at hand when you do report this kind of stuff, especially in large mass. This isn't just one disgruntled worker. This is a group. And I would hate for this to be true about Quantic Dream, because I like their games for the most part. I liked Heavy Rain. I don't care for Beyond Two Souls. Get that out of here. And Indigo Prophecy had a good first half. It had a very solid first half, but that second half, that was rough on that second half. So I'm hopefully that Detroit is. Mainly I'm just hoping Detroit's still a good game, and I'm hoping that these accusations aren't true, because I'm still planning on buying Detroit. And it would really suck if I buy Detroit and then like 2 days after I buy Detroit and I'm playing it, and then I check the sites and it says video proof of Quantic Dream sexual harassment, or video proof of Quantic Dream's racism. I'm going to be a little salty about that. I'm going to still have the game, and I ain't going to take it back. It'll be a little too late then. I'm going to still have the game and play it, but I'm going to be a little salty if the proof comes out afterwards. Okay. Now, the second item, and the second item of 2 items on Daze's Lost Legacy's news segment, is something that came out today. It broke today. This was not part of the plan to talk about. I was going to bring up something else, something a little smaller, but this broke. We got to talk about it. And that's that Fable is coming back. God dang it, Microsoft, you finally did something smart. This is the first time you've done anything smart in the last 2 to 3 years. Okay, backwards compatibility, that was smart. I'll give you that one. But as far as video game franchises go, this is the smartest thing you have done. And in doing this, you've also ruined one of my later segments where I was going to pitch to you guys to come up with the next Fable. And like what it says in the article is exactly what I was going to tell them. I was going to be like, listen, you saw what Horizon Zero Dawn did. I know you shut down Lionhead Studios. Just give Fable to someone else. If the creators of Killzone can come up with Horizon Zero Dawn and it may get all those awards and it get all that praise, despite me not really liking it, then you could do the same with Fable. You give it to someone else. I was going to go with the Coalition. I was going to say give it to the Gears of War guys, because it would look absolutely beautiful. But they're giving it to the Forza Horizon guys. So, I mean, that should be fine. Hopefully, picturing a racing studio doing a big RPG is a lot harder than picturing a first-person shooter studio doing a big RPG, you know? I can picture Guerrilla doing an RPG leaving from Killzone. Killzone always had a story with it, you know? Forza Horizon, they don't have stories, at least not as far as I know. You can always correct me on that, you Xbox fanboys. You can always correct me on that. I don't play a lot of Xbox games because the only franchise I've ever been interested in when it comes to Xbox is Gears, and guess what? Fable. So to hear that Fable is going to be coming back, and they're going to give it AAA money, and they're going to give it to the Forza Horizon studio, and they want it to be their own Horizon Zero Dawn, or possibly even their own Witcher. This could be great for Microsoft. This could be great for Xbox. This could be great for this is going to be great for the fans, and this could be great for competition, because Sony's just winning everything. I love Sony. Love my PlayStation. We're winning, baby. We're winning everything. You Xbox people have nothing. You have nothing, vato. But we're crushing you. But this right here, you're actually going to have something. I'm actually going to dust off that Xbox One S downstairs, turn that sucker on, and be playing this for hours, because I sunk hours in the Fables 2 and 3. Not a huge fan of the first Fable. 2 and 3 stepped it up so much. I was like, I don't need to go back and play the first Fable after playing something this great. I feel like that would be a downgrade. Some people probably feel the opposite. But this is finally something to bring people in. This is a desperate need for Microsoft. Now the game probably won't come out until like 2020 because it's already 2018, and this is just now happening. Heck, in 2020 we might have the PlayStation 5 coming out, or at least announced. The Xbox freaking 2, which is not going to be called that. They always give some weird names. I don't know what they're going to call the next Xbox. I don't think that should be an Xbox's prerogative, considering they just released the One X, world's most powerful console, you know. But, I mean, even if it's not for Xbox One, even if it's on the Xbox 2, or maybe it's the Xbox 2 is backwards compatible with the Xbox One, or whatever, PlayStation 5 and backwards compatibility, it's not going to come to PlayStation, I'm just saying. But this is great for competition purposes, and this is great for Microsoft and Xbox to get me to dust off that Xbox downstairs. The only time I use it is when I'm playing Blu-rays, and I got the whole family wanting to watch a Blu-ray, put it down on that 55-inch, plug in that Blu-ray, boom, there you go. That's the only reason I've been using it. But its primary focus is a video game console, and you shouldn't mainly use a video game console for 4K purposes. That's not its main purpose. So, good job, Microsoft. Get me to plug that goddamn Xbox in, because I'm playing everything else on the PlayStation. I'm playing the exclusives on the PlayStation. I'm playing the third party on the PlayStation. I only got that Xbox because I was hoping you guys was going to bring competition, and you didn't. You let me down, Xbox. But now you're moving in the right direction. Yes, you guys need your own Horizon Zero Dawn. And yes, it could be Fable. And I hope I hope it looks like Horizon and Witcher, you know, with the more realistic graphics. You can throw out the cartooniness of Fable, but you could keep the humor of Fable. Because Fable has to be its own thing. And you can't come at be Witcher jack off version. You have to be your own thing. So I say what it needs to be is, you know, ladies that look like The Witcher. They already said they're gonna give it that AAA money, so it needs to look like The Witcher, but it needs to be like Avengers, Marvel, MCU in tone. You know, Witcher's serious, Horizon's serious. Fable needs to be that one that's the Guardians of the Galaxy version of a fantasy RPG, but I don't want it to have the cartoony aesthetic. I still want the realistic looking aesthetic. I don't want the cartooniness of the original Fable trilogy. I think we can get rid of that. We're in a new age now. People don't really care for that. And you come and you give us that, combine that with the Witcher look, and I think you have a hit. I think you have a 6 million units sold type hit, okay? 8 million units sold type hit, Microsoft. I'm telling you. I'm glad you guys are doing this. Though you have ruined one of my upcoming segments where I was going to pitch to you guys to bring back Fable, but I'm glad you guys did it without me having to tell you. Glad you guys did it. Now I just want to go through some quick hits. The quick hits are going to be items that don't really need any deep discussion, just maybe some quick little newsworthy things that you might want to hear about. God of War got a collector's edition, the upcoming God of War. Looks real nice. The statue looks great. It's a good collector's edition. It's only $149.99. A lot of collector's editions nowadays, they're hitting you with the 200 or 250. I'm looking at you like, you crazy. 200, 250 for some statue. Now, the Batman one, in recent memory, that was the one I could think of the most that came with a statue and was only $99. So that was good. I'm glad that God of War has that. Another quick hit. January 23rd, Assassin's Creed is getting its first piece of DLC, Assassin's Creed Origins. Gonna be a story expansion. I can't wait for that. I love the Assassin's Creed Origins. My number 2 video game of the year last year. I only lost to Persona 5, and that was a close race. Also on January 23rd, a new Telltale Batman episode is coming out. This will be episode 4. There still hasn't been a trailer yet, though. Gotten a photo, but no trailer. I hate you, Telltale. I hate when you do this. You love to drop those trailers at the last minute. And that's it for Quick Hits. Now, the final segment that was going to be a part of Daze's Lost Legacy is called On Deaf Ears. And this was going to be where I pitched to the video game industry an idea to how to maybe bring back a franchise, how to start a new franchise, how to up your sales maybe, where I just pitched something on my mind to the video game industry. And my pitch was going to be about bringing back Fable. That's what my pitch was going to be. But I got something else for you guys that I just thought about while talking about Fable. And this is to Naughty Dog. This is to bring back Jak and Daxter. Now, I know what people have already said about this. Why would Naughty Dog go back to that cartoony platformer when they have games like Uncharted and The Last of Us? Well, let's think about this. What do they need to do to Jak and Daxter in order to make it like those games? Number one, AAA money, of course, which it would be. It's Naughty Dog. And number two, realistic graphics. That's all you got to do. And considering that they already look normal for the most part, they just have elf ears. Take away the cartoony aesthetic in the exact same way that I said about Fable. Give it a realistic look. We saw the concept art of Jak 4. It was going in a more realistic look anyway. Give it a more realistic look. Give it a... You don't need to go Last of Us serious story. I say Uncharted 4 level is just fine with the story. Give it an Uncharted 4 level story. Have the gameplay similar to Uncharted where you traverse and you climb. And that way it keeps like... It doesn't really keep necessarily platforming, but it's in that sense, right? It's in that sense. Uncharted always had that sense of like realistic platforming. Though people would just say, no, it's Tomb Raider style. Shut up. You know what I'm trying to say. Give it that, and I think you have Jak 4. Though, don't call it Jak 4. This is... Just call it Jak. In the exact way that God of War is not calling itself God of War 4. Just call it Jak. You're in a new generation of consoles. You haven't released a new game since PlayStation 2 in the Jak and Daxter universe. PSP, we're not counting those. But you haven't released a new game since PlayStation 2. All you've been releasing is the trilogy over and over again, the collection on PlayStation 3, and now it's on PlayStation 4 as PS2 classic. So give it the realistic aesthetic, but they gotta keep their ears, of course. But we know what a real looking elf would look like. You know, we have Bright and we have Lord of the Rings. We know what a realistic elf would look like to go by. Give it that aesthetic. Give it the Uncharted gameplay. Call it Jak, and boom! Jak is back, baby. And of course, Daxter. My idea, I know people aren't going to like this, but my idea was to get rid of Daxter. Get rid of the freaking Otzel, alright? He doesn't need to be there in this new vision. He doesn't need to be there. It's not going to be called Jak and Daxter anymore. As a matter of fact, it hasn't been called Jak and Daxter since the first Jak and Daxter. It's been called Jak. So just call it Jak again. All you need is Jak. And you could bring in all the supporting cast, Ashlyn and everybody, but it doesn't need to be called Jak and Daxter. Daxter can go away. Now, there is a way to keep Daxter in there. There is a way to keep Daxter. But he doesn't need to be there. He doesn't need to be there. I think Jak would be just fine without him. Daxter was mostly comedic relief. And like I said, if you go with the Uncharted 4 tone, Uncharted 4 still had its funnies, but it was more serious than funny. You don't need to be Last of Us serious. I think that's way too far left field for something like Jak and Daxter. Uncharted 4 level is absolutely fine. So if you go with that, you don't need Daxter. Jak can handle the funny on his own. So that is my pitch. That's going to fall on deaf ears, which is the whole point of the segment being called On Deaf Ears. No one's going to actually listen to this, but it's fun to pitch it anyway. So my pitch that's going to fall on deaf ears is Naughty Dog. Bring back Jak and Daxter in the Uncharted 4 realm. Not in the Uncharted 4 style. Let's just sum it up that way. Jak and Daxter comes back as Jak. No Daxter. Uncharted 4 style. That tone. Realistic graphics. AAA money. Good story. You guys can do it. I believe in you. And that wraps up the first episode of Daze's Lost Legacy. And we are clocking at only 20 minutes. I was hoping to spread this out to 30, but there just wasn't much to talk about. You know, it's been a slow month. It's been a slow month for gaming. There's nothing just really newsworthy that I had some insight on, you know. And that's what's going to happen. This is Daze's Lost Legacy, where I talk about the biggest deals in gaming news. We will not cover all the news, only things that I consider major things striking the gaming community. I'll hit you with some quick hits as I did today. And at the end of each episode, we will have an On Deaf Ears segment where we pitch to the video game industry something that they obviously aren't going to hear because they obviously are not listening, but it's fun to pitch it anyway. Now, I do want to get viewer questions in on this. I know it's not going to happen this week because I am just starting and many people won't be listening. So if this grows an audience, which I hope it does, Daze's Lost Legacy will start to take in viewer questions. I thank the people who tuned in to this very first episode for tuning in, and I hope that you stick around for the next episode. Until then, bye-bye. Disrespect. I guess. Ride around in flesh. Disrespect.